What's up, guys? Welcome into the program. Radio program starting here in just a couple of minutes as we're getting everything up and going here. Happy Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody as we get you set for the holidays coming up tomorrow. Are you ready for it? All right, I think we're getting everything all shared out here. Welcome in. One more live program before the great holiday, before the great Turkey Day. I know you're excited about Turkey Day, as am I. I have been preparing myself for a while now on the deliciousness that will be Thanksgiving. Now, next week I'll be doing a 7-day, purging and fasting to make sure that I, good golly, it's going to be ridiculous. But I don't care. I'm going to indulge and enjoy the next couple days. The best part, honestly, and we'll talk about this.
Till broadcast.
Thank you, Mrs. Voice of Reason. We'll talk about this on the air a little bit as well once the show starts. The best part about Thanksgiving is not the turkey on Thanksgiving Day. While that is exciting, the best part, honestly, at least to me, is the turkey enchiladas afterwards. Oh, yes, after the celebration. Because the turkey's great, but I always wrap it up in a tortilla anyway. So now you need to make it into enchiladas, and then you make it nice and spicy, and you put the sauce all over it, and it's great. That's what you do with the turkey left over. Just throwing that out there. What's up, guys? All right, welcome in. We have the live streams going on OpsLens, on the Next Gen USA, on Podbean for the audio, on our website at HooserReason.com. Coming up on the program today, Daniel Natal. He is a contributor to The New American as he discusses ethics and business. We'll talk about the form of our government and how it's evolved over the years. So we'll have that fun conversation. We have some Thanksgiving stories to get to today.
1 minute till broadcast.
Early voting for the Georgia runoff begins over the weekend, so we'll talk about the latest poll numbers and what's going on in the state of Georgia as well. So we do have a lot to cover, even though it is a holiday episode, and we'll have some fun the best that we can, as usual, on the show. What are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? What are your traditions? If you are watching the video feeds, I'd love to hear your stories and your traditions on what you do.
30 seconds till broadcast.
Already. Whatever will we do? If you are on the feeds, then welcome aboard. Welcome, guys. We love you. Like it out, share it out, leave a comment. Let me know what state you're listening from, where you are at. We'd love to hear from you. Let's break those algorithms on social media, wherever you may be watching or listening. Radio program starting here momentarily. Hang tight.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
You as the individual, you have the power. You don't have to join a union. You go in as an entry-level position. You get the experience that you need. And then as you work up, you get better at your job, which means they pay you more. If they don't pay you more, then you go to another company to show what you've learned and what your value is to where you can get more. If they really don't like that, then you can go and start your own damn business, because we have a free market, laissez-faire, capitalist society, allegedly, to where you can actually go off and do your own thing.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
You are darn right. It's the Voice of Reason. Hey, welcome into the program. You finally made it, the final day before the great Thanksgiving Turkey Day that is tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. You're excited. I know I'm excited about it. Not just for a day of relief and a day of sighing and taking a day off, but a day to indulge, to enjoy, to kick back, maybe to take a nap, maybe to eat massive amounts of turkey before I take a nap, and then just repeat the process all over again. Because that's what you have to do. Welcome into the show. This is The Voice of Reason. I am Andy Hooser, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station. We are all over the country. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, however you watch or listen to the show. We love you to death. Welcome aboard, your millennial general reporting for duty, like we do on the program every weekday here. Coming up on the bottom of the hour, Daniel Natal. He is a contributor to The New American. We've had him on the show before. He's going to join to talk about a little bit of history and the evolution of our federal government. The separation of powers, the three branches of government, the form of government that we're supposed to have compared to where we're at today and where we're going in the distant future if we continue on the roads that we currently are. So we'll get to that. We have some Thanksgiving things. I don't want to talk about politics too terribly bad the entire show today, but at the same time, the Democrats never let up. So can we honestly take a break when they continue to ram down their socialist crap agenda down our throats every single day? I want to talk about things that we're thankful for this year. We'll get to that. We have the early voting for the state of Georgia in the Senate runoff election coming up starting this Saturday. Early voting already kicking off because that's just 2 weeks away, which is really hard to believe. And are we prepared for that election with apparently Warnock is in the lead with the early polls right now? I don't know if that's necessarily true, but we'll see as we get closer to the election runoff there in Georgia. So we got a lot to talk about today, and it's always a pleasure to have you join us for the show. If you're listening live or if you're listening via podcast on the interweb, or if you listen to our video streams, however you tune into the program, first off, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving to you. And more than likely, you're probably traveling to go visit family and friends this year. As apparently, according to AAA nationwide, we're going to see pre-pandemic travel levels this year with flight and with travelers on the road at near 54 to 56 million people across the nation. That's a lot of individuals. That's awesome. I think that's great because we're getting back. I don't know why we would drive. I got to be honest. I'm not traveling anywhere. Number one, because I only have a day off before we're back here at the studios the next day. So I'm not going to go anywhere. But I wouldn't go anywhere even if I had the opportunity to as well, because I wouldn't want to drive with this ridiculously high gas prices. I'm just not going to do it. I don't know why I would want to spend $30 an extra, 30 cents an extra a gallon per gallon of gas. Or even if we look at prior to, I don't want to say that because that's year over year. That's really unfair. We got to honestly look at where it should be, which is the Trump era level of gas prices, which is about $2 a gallon. So we're about $1 a gallon over what we should be right now. So until it gets back to that, like not pre-pandemic, but pre-Biden levels, I really don't want to go anywhere. I'm kind of a hermit, and I think I'm just going to stay at home for a while. But they say that the travel is going to be exciting. However, as Fauci rightly, or I guess incorrectly, pointed out during his press conference just a couple days ago, that the next concern is with COVID-19 and a re-breaking out of certain variants of COVID-19 with the gathering of friends and family, because obviously we don't have the mask mandates to tell us to live our lives anymore. So that means that we're just horrible human beings that only think about ourselves, and we're going to spread the virus and kill people on a daily basis. As the Wall Street Journal, Thanksgiving poses the next COVID-19 test as U.S. looks to dodge the severe surge. New Omicron subvariants are taking over as authorities urge the booster shots as you go into the Thanksgiving break. They're urging the shots. They're urging the testing. Go and get tested. COVID cases are on the rise. RSV cases are on the rise. Flu cases are on the rise. And if you don't get tested or get your booster shot, you'll probably kill somebody at the family dinner. Which is, okay, you know what? All the power to you. If this new Omicron subvariants are such a threat, then why haven't we heard about them for the last, 6 months or so? Nonetheless, happy Thanksgiving as they try to scare you into not visiting Aunt Susie going into the Thanksgiving break tomorrow. Here's the fascinating part about tomorrow, and here's our latest and what's trending of the day.
What's trending today?
Going into Thanksgiving, there has been a push over the last few years from Democrats in general, the political realm in general. Don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion at the dinner table, especially at the family reunions. That's probably why most of the family reunions in my family don't necessarily like me showing up, because that's all I talk about. That's what I do for a living. I talk politics. That's all I know. I don't follow sports. I don't know sports. I mean, I know the sports. I know of the sports. I played them. I've coached them. But to watch them on television, I just don't do it. I have zero interest in watching the 14 NFL games tomorrow. I just don't care. I don't care about watching the basketball game. It makes no interest to me in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to watch movies while I eat. I will probably play some sort of video game with little voice of reason, and that will be the extent of my day. I will not be watching any NFL, and I'm sure that many listeners here feel the same way due to some of the politics of the NFL, or maybe you are watching and you've gotten over that stuff. All the power to you. Either way, I don't really care. However, I encourage the opposite when it comes to talking politics and religion at the dinner table, because that, I think, is where we've made the vast mistake of the young generation not understanding what's going on, of not hearing the adults talk about politics at the dinner table and understanding what's going on in the world, because the only bit of news that they get nowadays is on the Tweety and on social media that's in the echo chamber, and the algorithm only shows them what they want to see or what the algorithm wants them to see. So I think we need to reverse that, and we need to talk about politics and religion at the dinner table to have the conversations. And if someone doesn't like it, then I don't really care. But with that mindset that's been floating around for years and years and years, the Biden administration is starting to change that as well. As they've come out, one of the top White House aides, Ronald Klain, has posted the list from the Biden administration's top accomplishments for when chatting with your uncle at Thanksgiving. Now, if I don't know what accomplishments those could be, so let's read down the list, shall we? Because Joe Biden has come out with his list on the top accomplishments on how to talk politics at the dinner table for Thanksgiving. Afterwards, I'll give you the voice of reasons. Thanksgiving talking points when your aunt/uncle, meaning the other, try to chat with you at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Well, let's start with Joe Biden's for a second, shall we? According to Ronald Klain, White House staffer, whoever that may be, President Joe Biden's top accomplishments for when chatting with your uncle at Thanksgiving. They run down the list for you, so you can be very clear on what the Joe Biden administration has done. Number one, tackling inflation and lowering costs. Gas prices are down $1.35 a gallon since June, and inflation is moderating. Unsnarling supply chain issues to lower the cost of goods, saving Americans with hearing loss up to $3,000 on hearing aids. That's a big win for you there, I guess. And tackling junk fees that cost Americans billions, like surprise overdraft charges. We'll get into breaking some of these down, but real quickly, isn't that a bank's thing, like a private sector bank, to tell you on whether you're actually going to be paying overdraft charges on your bank account if you overdraw your account? You shouldn't be overdrawing your account, but if you do, wouldn't that be a bank thing based on the contract you signed when you open up a checking account? Kind of weird. Number two, Joe Biden took on Big Pharma and won, lowering prescription drugs and health care costs. Capping annual out-of-pocket prescription drug costs at $2,000 for seniors on Medicare, capping insulin copays at $35 per prescription for seniors on Medicare, and lowering health insurance premiums by $800 annually for Americans who buy insurance through the Affordable Care Act. Number three, worked with Republicans to rebuild America's infrastructure. Rebuilding roads and bridges, investing in passenger rail and public transit, expanding affordable high-speed internet for all Americans, and removing all lead pipes ensures clean drinking water in all communities. I don't know about you, but I kind of like my lead pipes. The hell are you talking about? Number four. I know, right? Hey, here's the crazy guy over there. Don't worry, he's just drinking out of the lead pipes. Number four, worked with Republicans to make more in America by passing the CHIPS and Science Act. That includes investing in semiconductor manufacturing and other advanced cutting-edge technologies here in America. Number five, brought together Republicans and Democrats to pass the first meaningful gun safety legislation in nearly 30 years. This is, again, all the top list of accomplishments from the Joe Biden administration to talk about during Thanksgiving, where he says he removed firearms from dangerous individuals, expanded mental health services in schools, and supported school safety, which narrows the boyfriend loophole to keep guns out of the hands of convicted dating partners. Number six, despite global challenges, we're making progress with 10 million created jobs, unemployment near record lows, unemployment near, again, they repeated themselves, unemployment near record lows, including for Black and Hispanic Americans, more small businesses launching than ever before, and rallied the world in defense of Ukraine in the face of Putin's aggression. And number seven on the Joe Biden list of accomplishments to mention to your family during Thanksgiving, according to the White House staffers, Republicans in Congress are extreme, proposing a national ban on abortion, planning to put Medicare and Social Security on the chopping block, trying to raise costs on Americans by repealing the Inflation Reduction Act. Those evil, horrible Republicans that are just trying to take away your rights left and right. Now, is any of that true? Ladies and gentlemen, is any of that true in any way, shape, or form? I would have to say no. Sorry, the fact checkers of the Voice of Reason have come out and said that is near a 0.5% truthful response there across the board. I don't know about anything regarding hearing aids or overdraft charges for businesses and banks, but if that's what you want to claim, then all the power to you. Is any of this true? Absolutely not. In fact, we have our Voice of Reason top five list to talk about during your Thanksgiving gathering for your aunt and uncle to try and debate with you about politics. Should we do it? Our top 10 list, or top 5 list, I guess. I don't have 10. I only have 5 because it only took 5 to review everything that was on that list. Number 1, as he goes on to tackle inflation and lower gas prices, saying he lowered gas prices down by $1.35 a gallon since June, and inflation is beginning to moderate. A very simple response if they use these tactics on you is say, well, sorry, but gas is still $1 higher than when the Trump administration was in, so you still have a ways to go on that one. And oh, by the way, inflation may be moderating, inflation may be leveling itself out. It's still a near 9% inflation rate across this nation, and you cannot blame supply chain issues unless you blame the Biden administration for blocking the ports from China coming into California. You go after the semi-drivers that were trying to transport the goods across the board. You've been advocating for the railroad unions to try and strike across the nation. That would put a major damper onto the supply chain. And also, go ahead and say that things are leveling out, but if an 8.5-9% inflation rate is leveling out to a positive level and you're still $1 above per gallon of gas compared to the Trump administration, then your level of standards of success are extremely low and absolutely pathetic. How hard is that to count? Again, these are like, it's like picking candy at a candy store. It's like picking on the little kid on the playground here. This is easy. Should we continue? We'll do that when we come back here after the break. Got to take one right around the corner here on a Wednesday, the pre-Thanksgiving celebration here on The Voice of Reason. We got a lot to get to. Trying to build up your arson to meet the family and friends, to go into battle as we're showing our thankfulness for our Thanksgiving of 2022. Lots more coming up.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to The Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring The Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Bring some reason into your day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Here's what we need. Maybe we should do a montage on Friday or on Monday after the weekend, if everybody's celebrating, maybe after the holidays or something over the weekend. If you do this and if you start talking politics, hit a recorder on your phone, send it to me. Maybe we should make a montage on this program of the fun family political debates of 2022. Wouldn't that be great? I think we should do that. Hey, how was your Thanksgiving? It was great. I put Uncle Sam in his place. I put Susie Q in her place. That would be fun. So, again, if you go to your Thanksgiving dinner, you start doing this, hit the record button on your phone, send it over, and we'll play it here on Monday next week. The Biden administration really trying to push their agenda because, remember, it's failing, so they have to try and start it at the grassroots. They're not good at doing the grassroots messaging, so this is their attempt at doing so. Hey, if you're going to talk politics, because obviously it's going to come up at the dinner table about, oh, wow, this is a ridiculously expensive dinner this year. Oh, the turkey was ridiculous. The shortage of the turkeys and the bird flu that killed off a lot of the population and the high prices of the inflation and the expense of the turkey. It was ridiculous. I can't believe we even got a turkey to celebrate Thanksgiving this year. The Biden administration is out there telling everybody, hey, when you go to dinner, don't say it was from us. Just say that we've leveled out inflation, and it's the unsnarling supply chains that we're trying to get back on track and get everything working again. It's not our fault. It was the Trump's fault from 2 years ago on why Thanksgiving was so expensive this year. And COVID. Always got to play the victim. It's always COVID there down the line. As they run down these, again, we don't need to go down every single bullet point because it's stupid, and it's really funny to watch them squirm because just trying to buy a Thanksgiving dinner is painful enough for individuals. Just trying to travel and get an airplane ticket, to drive across country, to try and get the gas prices, whatever you're doing, you're feeling the brunt of it, and they don't want that to look bad upon them. And now that the elections are over, things are going to start getting worse because they don't have to look good during elections. I've told you, they've artificially kept everything low during election time to make things not look as bad as what they were, but they can't conceal that for another 2 years. It's going to burst. The bubble will pop, and the ugliness of the economy will start showing its mug here relatively soon. And I'm talking inflation rates that are going to be at Jimmy Carter levels. I'm talking gas prices that are going to be at the gas shortage freakout level of the 1970s where you can't get any, or when you can, it's going to be $10 a gallon. We have to. We have to. You can't stop drilling, buy more. The people that we're buying it from globally stop drilling as well and stop producing as much, and then try and keep gas prices low. The stock market has it lowering now. It's below $80 a barrel. It's like 77 whatever a barrel right now, so it's getting lower, so we could see some low gas prices for the holidays. By January, Boom, baby. The holidays are done. Politics is done. The looking good is done. The transition happens when the Republicans take over the House of Representatives. And then by the end of January, February is when everything will skyrocket. And then guess what? That's going to be the arson for the Democrats and for the Biden administration to say, look, Republicans took over. Republicans got that majority in the House. And all of a sudden, baby, look at that. They're screwing up our agenda. And everything started going haywire because they're stopping what we have to do. We know this game. The economy takes time. The economy doesn't react immediately unless you cut taxes. When you go the other direction, you deregulate and you cut taxes, then everybody's great. I don't have to pay as many taxes. I'm going to hire more people. I'm going to expand the business. I'm going to buy a new building. I'm going to construct a new building. I'm going to buy a new product. I'm going to expand my business. This is going to be great. But it goes the opposite direction when you start implementing the new regulations and the new taxes. It's a very simple concept. You don't have to have an economics degree to understand that when the government takes more, you have less, and therefore you can't do as much. And giving it to somebody else is not the great way to make the economy boom. You're putting a glass ceiling on everybody because now they're absolutely dependent. These talking points from the Biden administration are lies, and they're absolutely pathetic. I can't wait to hear how you completely shred Uncle Bob when he shows up to the Thanksgiving dinner wearing his... Oh, wait a second. I haven't seen a single Joe Biden sign or hat or T-shirt or anything in support of him because no one likes him, and they try to cower and put their blinders on whenever he opens his mouth and says something stupid.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media.
Welcome to the Hooser Media Network. It's been a long time coming, and now it's growing bigger and better than we ever imagined. The Hooser Media Network is so much more than just the Voice of Reason. It's a network for you as a listener and you as a podcaster. It's a network for any kind of talk on any kind of topic, bringing podcasters together to give you a new way to think about the world, and it's any type of show from entertainment to educational. Check out all of our great programs, like Dr. Devin Verana with If They Knew.
Yeah, and it gives you tangible tools. I mean, I'm sure she just mentioned that some people might be mad at the government. I just can't imagine.
No.
I think there's a little bit of anger in the world these days, but I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning, and he said, if you grab an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out? Juice. What kind of juice? Orange juice every time, right? It's not going to be apple juice. It's never going to be mango juice. It's always going to be orange juice. So whatever is in us is going to come out when we're squeezed. And so I'm sure you're learning that, like, taking yourself through this process continually just adds more and more power, more and more depth of compassion and joy and freedom and all those good feeling things, because you're clearing that space out.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Now take people, so for anybody listening out there that might have an object of anger, whether it's somebody or something or, objects out in the world these days, take us into some tactical, practical things that they can do. Number one, I'm sure, is to come see you. But what are some other things?
So I skipped that one on purpose when I was going through this. But the first book that changed my life, and I listened to it before I signed up for I listened to her 1 hour Zoom before I signed up for the class. She was interviewing a man who told us about a book called The Four Agreements. And so then when you get into the class, we study the book called Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin. And we went through a process by Michael Brown called The Presence Process. These are all 3 books. And I hate to be this honest, but let me be this honest. You can read those 3 books and know everything I'm going to teach you. But like any good class, I mean, just because I signed up for a class in college, I buy the books. You really need someone to guide you through them.
That plus tune into Spiritual Smorgasbord with Desiree and Cheyenne.
It is, and we talked about that because then, of course, other things started to happen after that. Of course, that was not my last doctor's visit by no means. However, you know, we talked about it, and I thought, you know, our ancestors were so smart. They know, like, whatever ails us, there's a cure for on this planet. We're just not smart enough to know how to use it, but our ancestors were. We need to get back to that. Modern medicine, basically what that is it is what you get from the plant, the healing benefit, just on steroids with side effects.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, modern medicine is considered sexy. It's fast resolving. It's instant gratification. But, and so like plant-based formula, the raw, natural plant-based formula is what is going to work. It's going to be great. It just takes a while. And people want that instant gratification.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of people try
It's been marketed
something.
to them that way too.
It
They're like,
has.
oh, that's the old way. It's going to take you forever. But if you just take this, you wake up tomorrow and you can have whatever you want.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
My leg is broken, but have some Oxycontin.
Yes.
You know, it's like,
Right.
dude, your leg is still severely broken.
Right.
You just can't feel anything.
yeah. And it's like, so let's go to nature. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know what? There's pain relievers in nature. Marijuana is a great pain reliever.
Yes.
For one. I mean, you know, just
Mentally and physically.
Yes. Well, I mean, you know, but there's other remedies out there. And everything that ails us, there's a cure for on this planet.
This whole room smells like peppermint.
We're all getting cured.
We're all
now.
getting cured right now. It's a beautiful essential oil I bought from a local, I guess you could say apothecary shelf, but I'm getting healed right now.
Yes, exactly. It is. And it's all around us. We just need to know how to look for it. And I'm sorry, but that's kind of what we were discussing. And that kind of was what started this this whole journey. And what I'm very fortunate that, you know, my spouse and I are together on this. It's not just one of us having a spiritual journey. It's
Yeah.
that we're doing this together.
Listen to those shows and so much more on our website where you can find live streaming, links to the podcast, links to social media, more content, and so much more. It's all online at HooserMedia.com.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
John Wright, you're on. Welcome back into the program on a pre-Thanksgiving celebration here on the Voice of Reason, a Wednesday, trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag, trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time, multiple radio stations, TV, live streaming, podcasting, however you watch, listen. We love you to death. Welcome aboard, your millennial general doing his thing like we do every day here. Real quick, as we get into our guest, kind of a lead up to this, there is, oh, and by the way, real quickly, as we wrap up the last conversation as well, the Biden administration's quote-unquote top accomplishments to talk about during Thanksgiving, you can find it on the Tweety. I am really enjoying a lot of the comments on there that have had a remade version of the Biden's top accomplishments, which are absolutely nothing. So if you want to see those, then you're more than welcome to. I'll start sharing some of those out on the social media, which you can find me at Hooser Reason, Hooser Reason, on all the social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. I don't really care. I'm on all of them. I think I mentioned Twitch as well, twitch.tv, kind of our TV stream, which we have on multiple different sites. But you can check it out. We'll start sharing some of those feeds on there. All right, real quickly here, as we kind of shift gears and talk about the makeup of government, the shifting of power, the focal point of where we like to put our elected officials and our leaders and the power in our federal government. Obviously, the big race right now, everybody's still focusing on, because the elections aren't done yet, outside of Donald Trump announcing his run for 2024, is the latest polls show that Donald Trump is over Ron DeSantis in the presidential Republican primary. That's interesting. The latest poll as well shows that Republicans want Mitch McConnell out as the Senate minority leader, as 62% of Republicans show that they want him out. The other one as well, coming out of Georgia with the runoff in the state of Georgia, which early voting starts on Saturday this weekend. Hard to believe, but the Democrat Warnock is leading Herschel Walker by 4 points in the early polls just 4 weeks or 2 weeks out from the election day in the Senate runoff in Georgia. What does that mean? What the heck, man? We'll talk about some of that here in just a little bit, but we'll get into our What's Trending of the Day.
What's trending today?
Happy to have this guy back on the program to talk about shifting in powers, where the power lies in our federal government right now. He is a teacher of business ethics. He's also a news analyst and commentator for The New American, contributor there. Excited to have back on the program with us here, Mr. Daniel Natal. Daniel, how are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing really great. Thanks for having me back on, Andy.
Yeah, you bet. It's good to talk to you again, and happy Thanksgiving to you and the family. It's been interesting to watch the evolution of our federal government and where the power lies. And it seems like the presidential race is always more of a celebrity contest on who's more popular as opposed to what the policies actually are. But does the executive branch, do you think, right now in this time actually have the most amount of power? Or where does the majority of power lie, do you think, in our government?
Well, I mean, I did a presentation about this recently, and it was it just occurred to me how strange, how far we've drifted. Like in republics, in America as a republic, the Senate is always the center of power, seat of power. Like in the Roman Republic, it was the Roman Senate. And so in the United States, when we first created the country under the Articles of Confederation, our federal government only consisted of one branch, a Senate. There was no president. There was no, there were no other. I mean, it was really pared down. It was just the Senate.
Yeah.
And then when we created the new Constitution, we kind of made the government Cicero called it a mixed form of government, which is based on the three classical forms: monarchy, aristocracy, and republic. And so Cicero said you should have, the best parts of all of these aspects of government if you mix them together, and they might offset the worst parts. And so Rome had that sort of government. They had a consul, right, standing in for monarchy. They had the Senate, of course, standing in for Senate. And then they had, like a House of Plebeians, which was stood in for Republic. And the United States kind of really, after the Articles of Confederation, we set up our government like that, where we had a president standing in for monarchy, we had the Senate, and then we had the House of Representatives standing in for Republic. So those are the three branches originally conceptualized. And people will probably be chomping at the bit to say, oh, wait, but what about the courts? Aren't the courts the third branch of government? But initially, no. I mean, it was those three branches, and they were called in the Constitution the first branch. Senators were called members of the first branch. Congressmen were called members of the second branch, and the president, mentioned third in the Constitution, was called the head of the third branch of government. And even Ruth Bader Ginsburg makes a reference to this. There's a quote, I'll read it to you really quickly. It says, in 1853, Judah Benjamin declined the nomination of President Millard Fillmore to become Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court. Just elected U.S. Senator from Louisiana, Benjamin preferred to retain his first branch post. This suggests that the U.S. Supreme Court had not yet become the co-equal branch that it is today. So it is very interesting how the conception of our government has radically changed. I mean, even since the early 20th century, where nobody really considered the Supreme Court a branch of government, where now we're told it is. But the point being is that the Senate used to be the center of our domestic policy, the center of the power in the country, as it is in all kind of republics. And then it's since shifted over to the executive branch in a very strange and ahistorical way.
Yeah, I don't like it shifting over to the executive branch as much as it was. I like a lot of the power staying in Congress, but it is. I am glad, I think, personally, that we did evolve, I think, from just a pure republic with only a Senate, because we've seen how well that worked. And we see, for example, you mentioned like Rome. I mean, ancient Rome was the prime example of that, to where we somehow would always like to focal and center our power into one individual, and they rid the Senate of all their power, and it was easy to do so. So I like the breakup that we have now, but now it seems like the Senate doesn't have really a whole lot of power of anything. They can't do anything without the secondary lower chamber of Congress, which is the House of Representatives. They really can't pass any major legislation without the House or with the signature of the president. So now we've gone from where the Senate was really the most powerful branch to now just only a small cog in the big machine, it seems like.
Well, you have to remember, I mean, the Senate means the state, right? So the state, like in a country called the United States of America, the state originally had all the power.
Yeah.
And the Senate are the delegates sent from those states. So once, the Senate loses power, that's basically the states losing power. Where all of a sudden we're basically being ruled, like Alexander Hamilton he was an Anglophile, and he wanted the United States, he was terrified of the United States being a republic. and he wanted it to be a monarchy. And in fact, he actually led the charge to recruit, I think it was a Hohenzollern German prince to be the king of America. He wanted a king and a central bank because that's what they were used to in England, right? So when they created this, the second constitution, they basically wanted that setup, and so it was a fight always between Thomas Jeffersonian, conceptions of America, where the states are ruling, versus with the Alexander Hamilton version of America, where there's a king and a central bank. And so that's, since the founding of the country, that's really been the fight between the globalists and the nationalists. And I mean, it's phenomenal that that's still, the truth today. For your audience, just a really interesting book to read on this is by none other than John F. Kennedy. When he was a senator, he wrote Profiles in Courage, and it's the history of the Senate. And he talks about when the Senate was first created, they were not really alive that much with the House of Representatives. Yeah. They were far more alive with the executive branch. Like they used to be the cabinet of the president. So they've been diminished greatly in power. So I mean, so that was basically the state had a check over the executive branch because, like, the Secretary of the Interior, the Secretary of War, the Secretary of this, the Secretary, all of those were the senators. So it was the state and the executive branch, just like with today when the Senate and the executive branch pick Supreme Court justices or pick diplomats or ambassadors. So in the original formulation, the Senate was vastly more tied to the executive branch than it was to the House of Representatives.
Wow. That is fascinating. Well, now let's take it another step further, and let's talk about the change of the Senate on how they were actually nominated and actually chosen to go to Washington, D.C. after the 17th Amendment back in, 1913 or whatever it was ratified, that shifted it from the state governments to actually choose them, like you mentioned, to actually being voted on the people. What did that do to this entire process and the power of the Senate?
Well, I mean, originally, basically John Stuart Mill, in Considerations of Representative Government back in 1861, he said that, just like in England, England was a tripartite government, right, where they had the king, and then they had the House of Lords and the House of Commons. And, he noted that the United States government, took that Ciceronian kind of formulation of a three-part government. And notice, by the way, in England, the courts are not a branch. There's three branches, the courts are not one of the branches. But so anyway, so he said that in America, it was just like in England. He said that you had to give the people some form of representation or else there'd be a revolution. So, and he noted that in our Constitution, that the House of Representatives was the only house that was directly elected. He said, however, the Senate and the President were both elected in a two-step process to kind of lift them above demagoguery and low party politics. So that two-part process was, of course, the people would vote on the state legislators, and the state legislators in step two would install the senators. Just like Supreme Court justices, nobody gets upset or grouses Supreme Court justices are not popularly elected, because then you would get a lot of lower behavior, even though, the arguments could be made that didn't go exactly as planned. But nevertheless, the president, too, was done in a two-step process. Yeah. What was supposed to happen is not political parties, but it's supposed to be you vote for your state legislator, and then the state legislators send delegates to an electoral college. And the second step, the electors from the electoral college pick the president. It was not ever supposed to be popularly elected. So it is fascinating how far we've drifted, since from those original borings. That would have had much more checks and balances. Like if we reverted to the Constitution as written, the Senate would have much more power. Thereby, the states would have much more power, and they would be kind of separated. And Kennedy makes a really good point. Kennedy says that before the Civil War, he said that the Senate was filled with philosophers and statesmen. And he said after the Civil War, they basically were the senator from Big Oil, the senator from the railroad trust, the senator from the banking industry, et cetera. And he said, so, it ceased to be, especially after they were popularly elected, after 1913, they ceased to be representatives of the state so much as representatives of financial interests. Because now that you have to be elected in a popular race, you need money. And now that you need money, you go to an oligarch. Oligarch funds. So now you're representing the oligarch. You're not representing your state. So that was a very, very clever tactic to basically kind of disrupt the power of the state.
Oh, how the mudslinging began. And you're right, the dirty politics and the low-level politics that are now being played when it wasn't supposed to be that way. Got to take a hard break here real quick. It is Daniel Natal with the New American, thenewamerican.com. You can see all the great writings and stuff they have going on there. I want to talk about moving forward, what branch now has the power and how we can get back to maybe some normalcy in the country.
Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently, as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. As we continue to grow as a radio and TV program, we're continuously working behind the scenes to try and bring more common sense and reason to more patriotic Americans all over the country. That's why we're super excited to be working with the OpsLens team to bring you the voice of reason every single day. OpsLens is a national online network bringing you incredible content all day from hosts all over the country. And each host brings their own unique experience and expertise to the current events, reaching hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans daily. Make sure to check out their website at opslens.com. Make sure to download the OpsLens website and follow them on all of these social media sites that you like, so you can watch all their live streaming content, including ours right here with the Voice of Reason. Plus, if you want more of the Voice of Reason, check out our website online at HooserReason.com. There you can listen to the live audio feed of the show every single day. You can read our monthly blog. You can check out our satire infomercials. You can see pictures of what we're doing, upcoming schedule of events, and a heck of a lot more. On the website, you can find our list of radio and TV affiliates in your area. Find our social media links, and while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. Over the last 2 years, your Voice of Reason newsletter has grown exponentially. It's completely free, and in it we give you your monthly motivation, upcoming civic holidays for the month, a recap from the show from last month, upcoming guests on the program, along with the latest news from our Hooser Media Network. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is go to the website at HooserReason.com and become the next Hoosier-holic. Finally, follow us on all of our social media sites. With the iron grip control on content from the radical left, unless you follow us, you're not going to be able to see us. It's been an ongoing battle with shadow banning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where even our own fans are having a hard time finding our content. But the battle isn't over. We'll continue to bring you the best content we can on as many platforms as possible. You can follow us with the handle at Hooser Reason. No matter what social media site you like to use, you can find us there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok, ourfreedombook.com, Parler, and of course our website at HooserReason.com. Don't miss it while we give you a heads up on some of the events that I may be attending or speaking at, updates of behind-the-scene projects, or just something sarcastic to try and rile up the left. The battle for freedom is real, and we want to be part of that battle, as we want you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Conservative principles happen at the grassroots level, and that's what we're here to help with. And together, you and I can fight back against this virus that's spreading across the nation that is socialist policy, trying to destroy this country. We can bring us back to some constitutional values, some individual sovereignty, and the right for you to be able to make your own choices when you deem necessary for you, your family, and your community. In a world of fake news and information overload, it's time to bring back some reason, common sense, guidance, and a little bit of wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. This is the Voice of Reason.
fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Reason, common sense, rationale. That's what we try to do here, especially as we go into a Thanksgiving. I'm excited to hear about some of the conversations around the dinner table with family and friends for Thanksgiving regarding the politics and religion. The Biden administration saying that, hey, here's our talking points. Spread the message for us because we can't do it ourselves. How well is that going to work? Is it going to work? No. Okay. All right. Making sure. Got a few minutes left here as we wrap up the program today. We're talking with The New American. Go and check them out, thenewamerican.com. Daniel Natal with us here as he teaches business ethics, also a news analyst, commentator for The New American, as we talk about the makeup, the evolution of our government, the government's power, government separation, the branches of government that we've had, and how things have changed. Now we've gone from essentially the Senate and that's about it with the president, or what wanted to be a monarchy at some point, to the three branches that was the Senate, then the House, then the president. Now we have really four branches, I say, with our two chambers of Congress, our president, the judicial branch, and now our fourth branch that is the bureaucratic administrative state that is completely untransparent, that has no oversight, that is not elected from the American people, and I think that's the biggest frustrating part. So between those four now, Daniel, looking at it today, I've heard the argument that the Supreme Court is now the strongest branch of the government because once they make a decision with their opinions, then that's the legality. It's either constitutional or it's not constitutional, period, end of story. The fourth branch of government with that bureaucratic state, because we have no oversight or power there. Where does the power lie now in our federal government?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, in terms of, just to be clear, when Montesquieu wrote The Spirit of the Laws, and that was the second most quoted book that the founding fathers read from after the Bible. And in The Spirit of the Laws, he actually places the courts under the executive branch.
Sure.
And so does John Stuart Mill in Considerations on the Representative Government. The courts were originally under the executive branch. And you see this today. Modern people talk about when George Washington sent the first Supreme Court Justice, John Jay, to England to negotiate a treaty, and they said, this is a violation of the separation of powers because he's sending a Supreme Court justice as an underling. But when you go back to that time period, John Jay understood himself to be under the executive branch. He never said that he was a separate branch of, he dutifully did with the president. So it is fascinating, the evolution of the, as Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, even into the 19th and early 20th century, nobody considered the Supreme Court a separate branch of government. So that's a very kind of new thing that's been foisted on the populace, and telling them that we have a two-headed branch of government, But yeah, it's very strange. But one of the tip-offs as well was the Senate was originally kind of the original seat of power, other than just historically the republics, the Senate in any republic is always supposed to be the center of power, is the fact that in the Constitution, congressmen are only given 2 years. The president's only given 4 years, a 4-year term. Senators are given a 6-year term. They're mentioned first in the Constitution, and they're given the longest term, which means they're given the longest amount of influence, which is the most power. So that was originally the states. So the states had the longest influence. They had the most power of the federal government. And for us to basically take over, we have to ignore it. We concentrate so much on the executive. We concentrate so much on the president, and we forget that if we took the Senate back, how much power we would be able to exert. The state, or if we, and you see the left kind of freaking out about the Electoral College. Like, what would happen if the state legislatures said, "Hey, let's follow the Constitution"? It's the state legislatures that pick the president. We'd instantly get rid of questions about irregularities of voting and mail-in ballots and all, because all of that would be irrelevant.
Yeah,
it would just be the electors in the college picking the president, as it was up until 1824.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was going to be my next question is, outside of the Senate, when we look at the executive branch in this, I mean, we have this national popular vote. You talked about the lack of education. Now, we're not aware of that. We still have a two-step process in electing the president of the United States, even with this push for a national popular vote, with trying to rid ourselves of the Electoral College, or at least have them vote and cast their ballots for the president based on the popular vote nationwide. There is such a lack of understanding in this process, is that if we continue down this road, then I am concerned on where the elections could go in the future. We got about 30 seconds here, Daniel. You wrap it up.
Yeah, just telling people that if they really want to take power back, the solution is, number one, their local government. And number two, we have to start concentrating on what the left is panicking about, the Electoral College. If we actually get the state legislators to take that back and exercise its full constitutional power, I mean, that would be the state finally having a check and balance on an out of control runaway federal layer of government.
Watch them
I'll
squirm.
leave it there.
Yeah, watch them squirm. If we tried to promote that would be fantastic. It's Daniel Natal, the New American, thenewamerican.com. Daniel, happy Thanksgiving, brother. We got to get you back on the show again soon.
Thanks, man. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, appreciate it. All right, that does it for us today. We're out tomorrow, back at it on Friday live. We will be here live on Friday and have some fun to get you set for the weekend going into next week. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the voice of reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the voice of reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own voice of reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website,